Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Holman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we talk with Chad Bullock from Premier Farm and Home about pasture management. And inside Kansas Ag, Kansas Wheat talks foreign trade, and KDA talks wheat flax month. And in news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. A federal judge last week blocked EPA's controversial Waters of the U.S. rulemaking just hours before the rule was to take effect. A partial victory for opponents, as a federal court preliminary injunction applies only to 13 states, which joined in the filing for the order. Two other requests for injunctions sought in district courts in Georgia and West Virginia were denied. The states where the injunction is enforced that border Kansas are Arkansas, Colorado, Missouri, and Nebraska. The U.S. is exporting ethanol at near record levels. For the 2014 and 15 marketing year, the U.S. Grain Council forecasts ethanol exports to reach 850 million gallons, second only to 2011's 1.2 billion. Although Canada, the top international customer of ethanol, has reduced demand by 26%, all other major markets have shown increases. Brazil and the Philippines have grown by 40% or more compared to last year and are the number 2 and 3 customers of U.S. ethanol. After several years of good profits, the ag sector is facing a much different outlook. In its latest farm income forecast, the USDA expects net farm income to fall to $58 billion this year, a 36% drop from 2014's $91 billion. USDA senior economist Warren Preston says crop receipts could drop by more than 6% this year. Corn could be down 13%, soybeans down by 8%, and wheat down by 13%. He says livestock receipts could be down 9%. The USDA expects total farm production expenses for the year to be down for the first time in 6 years. And in local news, last week 10 counties in Kansas were designated natural disaster areas. Atchison, Crawford, Leavenworth, Miami, Bourbon, Donovan, Lynn, Wyandotte, Cherokee, and Johnson, making all qualified farm operations in the designated areas eligible for low-interest emergency loans from the USDA's Farm Service Agency. Farmers in eligible counties have 8 months from the date of declaration to apply for loans. Additional information is also available online at disaster.fsa.usda.gov. A program providing low-interest loans to farmers who build or upgrade on-farm storage facilities will add dairy, flours, and meats as qualifying commodities. Already eligible are storage for corn, soybeans, oats, wheat, grain sorghum, hay, and honey. Contact your local FSA office for more details. U.S. new crop soybean and corn prices are expected to drop as much as $1 to $2 per bushel below production costs in the coming months as near record domestic output adds to bulging world supplies. Soybean futures hit their lowest since 2009 at $8.55 a bushel last week as rains boosted U.S. output prospects. Higher South America supplies have also dented prices. Corn, down 5% so far this year, is trading below $4 per bushel, just 30 cents above the low since October of 2014. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has pegged domestic corn and soybean harvest above expectations this year. Up next in our Ag Feature, we talk with Chad Bullock from Premier Farm and Home about pasture management. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Poe, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Dick Edwards, 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
Thanks for staying with us this morning. We're out at Premier Farm and Home, and we're joined by Chad. Chad, it's been a while since we've seen you.
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
It's good
to see you.
This spring and summer was kind of the have and the have-nots when it comes to pastures.
Yeah.
If you happen to get some rain, you have.
Yep.
If you didn't get any rain, you're a have-not.
That's right. I mean, we had an extremely wet year for a lot of regions in Kansas. Great news, we got out of the drought. Some disadvantages from that. We may have had some regional flooding and some other challenges that come up with that. And another problem we've had was a really challenging hay year. Yeah.
When you say challenging, is it as in too much water, which created weed issues, or just getting the hay out of the field?
Really just getting the hay out of the field was really challenging for a lot of guys. I know if you're like my dad was, he was sick of looking at the weather report, you know, and just ended up going and doing it, you know. So getting the hay out of the field was challenging. Rather than getting it all wrapped up for a cool season brome by the 4th of July, we were, you know, extending all the way into August in some cases, just having really wet conditions, trying to get that hay dried and having all that subsurface moisture almost just leaking out of the field in some places.
And when we're talking about wet hay, we certainly don't want to bale it wet.
No.
But we may need to have to put it up wet as well.
Right, you know, and a little shower on your brome is not too bad of a thing, especially if you're using like a disc mower or that sort of situation. But for the guys using the swather systems where they really pile it up and they need it to dry out, it was pulling a lot of moisture, just wicking it up from the ground. You know, it made it really for a challenging drying year.
Well, you know, in the past we've talked about hay and hay pastures, and rain certainly makes great hay.
It does. Yeah.
Too much rain makes not great hay.
Well, a lot of times you can outrun your nitrogen a little bit. So we're relying on nitrogen fertilization to get a lot of that growth. And if you start leaching that out too fast, Brian, before the temps get there, it's just not available there for the hay. So we may have had a lot of hay, done pretty well, but maybe a little off from a bumper year as far as hay goes. Really depending on if you got too much water or if you got just enough water, really played a part in that.
And when we talk about nitrogen, are we talking about putting it down now, or are we going to talk about putting it down in the spring?
Well, that really depends on your usage. For folks that are doing cool season pastures, they're grazing on fescue and those sorts of things, we really want to consider doing some fall application or maybe even splitting that nitrogen application. What that does is it gives you another regrowth in the spring and summertime, makes those plants able to bounce back from that grazing better by using a fall application of fertilizer.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish up with Chad, and we're going to talk about what you should be thinking about getting your pasture ready for next year. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at a Premier Farm and Home, and we're joined by Chad. Chad, thanks for staying with us.
No problem.
First segment, we were kind of talking about too much rain and not enough rain, and the have and the have-nots when it comes to hay this year. We kind of got into fertilizer, and let's kind of expand on that.
Well, a lot of guys, in the fall time frame, they're talking about maybe doing some weed control in their fall pastures, especially, the use of Tordon to help with musk thistle and other, the noxious weed lists that we have out there, those noxious weeds. And while you're doing it, I know liquid can be a little bit more expensive of a fertilizer, but it's a great option to consider putting an additional, 30 to 40 units in the fall time frame to really help thicken up your pastures and kind of help crowd weeds out in addition to spraying them then, so that you don't have those heavy influx of weeds in the spring.
Well, a guy doesn't go out and spray for weeds, but he does fertilize. I mean, he's basically fertilizing the weeds as well.
Well, that's true, Brian, but you also, if we think about our grasses and when they're allowed to grow and do their thing, they'll usually be able to shade out our weeds and those things. So think of it as, yes, we're fertilizing those weeds, but a lot of them are going to be dead anyway. So, for example, a lot of our summer annual weeds that have germinated after we hayed, we get a lot of this influx of growth. Maybe we're seeing some foxtail, or we're seeing some other weeds out there that can be a problem. As soon as we get to the first frost, they die. So in effect, they really don't affect next year's brome crop or even this fall's brome crop. So as soon as they're dead, getting a fertilization in there gets the grass thick, so then we don't have that winter annual germination or some of those perennial germinations you get in the fall.
Well, as we're we're into September now, what should we be doing for the next 4 months?
Well, I think especially for pastures, we're getting, we want to let the cool seasons recover, and we want to remember for our native stocking to try and keep them off for the month of August and maybe into September until we get that first hard freeze, and that allows those native grasses to really store food so that next year we're not injuring or diminishing what we could get out of those native pastures. Now, after the first frost, all bets are off, putting them back on native, and especially even cool season grasses can really take some abuse there in the fall. So we just need to be careful about what species we have. You know, brome, we want to be cautious about regrazing that, knowing that that's going to rob a little bit of yield off of next year. Fescue pastures, we definitely want to graze hard in the fall and consider that fall fertilization.
If you have a weed that you're kind of confused about,
yeah, bring it in. We'll let you know what it is.
Perfect. Chad, it's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Bolivia shares more than a border with Argentina, thanks to favorable trade policies that encourage Bolivia to import wheat from next door Argentina. However, U.S. wheat farmers stepped up to meet demand in this growing market when Argentina's poor production and political policies left their neighbor in need. Bolivian farmers do grow wheat between 5.5 and 7.35 million bushels annually. These supplies are milled and consumed near where they're grown, leaving the rest of the country dependent on imported wheat and flour to meet consumption needs. In December of 2012, the Argentine government announced it would significantly cut wheat exports following 2 poor crops. U.S. Wheat Associates, the voice for Kansas wheat farmers in international markets, sent staff from the U.S. Wheat Office in Santiago, Chile, to offer assistance. Together, U.S. Wheat provided millers with the information they need to convince the Bolivian government to lift the 10% import tariff on wheat for countries outside the Mercosur Agreement, like the United States. As a result, the Bolivian government agency, the Support for Food Production Company, purchased all of their wheat needs for 2013 and 2014 from the United States. In total, an estimated 13.2 million bushels of hard red winter wheat were shipped from the Gulf of Mexico to Bolivia.
Following the discovery of a low-level presence of the wheat disease flag smut in the 2015 Kansas wheat crop, an industry working group has been assembled to determine what mitigation strategies can be implemented in the fall of 2015 and beyond to help limit or eliminate the presence of the disease in Kansas. This is important to protect our international trading relationships. Some wheat-buying countries refuse to accept wheat that has been infected with wheat flag smut. Wheat growers are encouraged to follow these voluntary measures to help protect the integrity of the Kansas wheat industry. Research has shown that the use of fungicide seed treatments, which are very economical, are highly effective in preventing flag smut and other fungal diseases, and is an important tool in the successful mitigation of the disease. Where possible, it is also suggested that crop rotations include corn, soybeans, or other crops to avoid continuous wheat to break the disease cycle. Flag smut presents no human or animal health concern and has no impact on grain quality. It can have a negative impact on wheat yield, the severity of which is determined by the infestation level of the field. For more information on flag smut, contact your local extension office or log on to the KDA website at agriculture.kda.gov/ppwc. Kansas ranks second nationally in wheat production and is number 1 in hard red winter wheat production.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
All the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this?
Yes, we can.
But we'd prefer to give you the straight call, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness
kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You hear it all the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this?
Yes, we can.
But we'd prefer to give you the straight talk, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Heifers owned by Loomis Ranch of Council Grove and steers entered by Dina and Mary Beth Horton from Americus earned grand awards at Flint Hills Beef Fest in Emporia. The awards are based on the best combined finish in the Grass Futurity and Livestocker show. A total of 119 steers and 108 heifers were entered in the contest. The grand award-winning Pen of Three from Loomis Ranch won the live show in the heifer division, while cattle owned by Whitker Farms of Strong City finished second. Don Hahn of Fall River had the top pen in the heifer grass futurity, with the second place entry belonging to Woodbury Farms of Quennamo. In the steer division, Lindsay Farms of Lebo exhibited the champion pen in the live stocker show, while cattle owned by D&H Cattle of Strong City won second. The Horton entry receiving the grand award won the steer grass futurity, with a pen from Woodbury Farms finishing second. A team from Lonesome Pine of Cedar Point won the Beef Fest Ranch Rodeo. Broken H of Bronson won second. Kelsey Mosby won the open division of the Beef Fest Ranch Horse competition. Justin Keith won both the junior and intermediate divisions. Ty Swiler won the novice division, while Pax Vogel won the youth, and Piper Vogel was first in the Pee Wee division. Flint Hills Beef Fest is a celebration of the grass cattle industry and the culture surrounding it.
Good morning, I'm Derek Ermish with Paragon Ag. Sometimes you're the rock and sometimes you're the pond. In 2008, the U.S. economy was the rock and the rest of the world was the pond. Ripples were felt, and one of those ripples came in the form of a devalued U.S. dollar, which gave emerging and developing world economies a signal to accelerate their growth efforts with their newfound purchasing power. In 2015, it appears China is now the rock and the U.S. is on the pond. The Shanghai Composite Index has dropped some 40% since June. That's a big drop and an eye catcher, but it's important to realize that it had risen by more than 140% from June of 2014. It was the definition of a bubble that was probably going to burst at some point. Now it's just a matter of what the damage will be and where we will fill the ripples. The first of those ripples started to hit Monday of this week, with the Dow Jones closing down nearly 600 points and experiencing volatile back and forth action as the week carried on. What does this mean for the grain markets? Well, at first glance, you'd have to think it's not bullish, especially for soybeans. As provider of a product, you want your consumers of that product healthy. From an end user standpoint, you would think the low prices we've reached in the grains at this point in the year carry a reasonable value price tag. Unfortunately for China, One of our biggest customers, the U.S. soybean farmers' troubles might be best described as trying to sell somebody a car when their house is on fire. They're still going to need that car eventually to get to work, but there's bigger fish to fry at the moment. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.